YouTubers, it's Selling Guy 60 here. Well, I was going to check this lawnmower out on Monday, but I hurt my back. Took Tuesday off, and here it is, Wednesday night about 9 o'clock. And I thought I would take a look at this mower and see if we can't figure out a little something about it and see why somebody put it out on the curb. So let's see if I can't zoom in on it there. Right. Let's see if we can't figure out a few things about it. I do have the blade, and I have the parts here that was sitting next to it. But we need to check out a few other things about it. See what it's doing. Flip this over so I can see myself here. Okay, the wheels are pretty wobbly. I think they're probably wore out. But let's see what we have for oil. Well, there's a bunch of very, very black oil right on the tip of this thing. Let's see. Ooh. Frogs in here. Yeah, there's some oil on it at the very tip. That could be good or bad. See if it's got any gas in it. Nope, no gas. Alright. So hardly any oil. Okay. Let's take the air filter off. See if we can see what this. See if they kept up to doing some kind of maintenance on it. It's a 6.5 horsepower push mower. That's a pretty big horsepower mower. Yeah, filter's pretty good shape. Yeah, see light through it. Alright. I don't see oil spewed out all over the place. There's not oil all over the inside of this. Fine. Let's put the blade on it. See if it'll start. Might shoot some starting fluid in there or something, so let's put the blade on here. Start it up for a few seconds. A lot of grass in here. Closer. Got a lock washer, has a lock washer, and a flat washer. And you can see there's nothing there, just right around here where there's a washer, and then there's a shadow all around here, which the shadow goes up to here. And that would be correct because this goes counterclockwise. And we'll take the spark plug out of it, turn it by hand to make sure the crankshaft isn't bent. Just tighten this thing up here. So I pulled on it, and you can tell there wasn't a blade on it. They don't pull very good when there's not a blade on it, because the blade balances the mower when it runs. Okay. Let's see. So we're looking at a space between the edge of the blade and the frame here. take the spark plug out, just in case. Push that up there. Let's see. That's a nice little space there. Same space too. Let's look up here. We're not going to have nothing hit. Yep, same space. I don't hear any clunking. I don't hear any thumping or anything. Alright. Back this up a little bit. Alright. Well, let's hook the spark plug back up. We can fire it up in the garage here for a few seconds. There we go. I'll shoot some starting fluid in it. See if it starts. Pick up all this stuff off. Alright. Let's see if it runs. Must have been some gas in it. It's running for a while. Usually with starting fluid it'd run and then shut off. So, I'll open the garage door here for a few minutes. Seems to run. Might just end up having to do an oil change. Putting some tires on it and making it work. So, alright. Don't know why. I found a lot of them that were just some junk in the carburetor. I take the fuel bowl off and knock all the junk out of the fuel bowl, stick that back up in there, put a filter in it, a spark plug, change the oil, clean it up, and it's ready for sale. So, don't know why. Just what it is. People get rid of it, and they go get another one. Okay, so we'll hit this one up again, and this might be a very short video. Hey YouTubers! The other day I had this lawnmower and I found it in pieces. I put the blade back, the blade on it and the bracket that held the blade on it. Shot some starting fluid in it and started right up. Well, I don't know if they got rid of it because maybe it wouldn't prime or something, so I put a little gas in it. And I'm going to see if the primer works. We're going to start it back up again. So let's try this again. See what we come up with. See if this thing is priming or what's going on. So I could bend this tab back a little bit. Let's look in there and see if this thing is priming. There's the primer. Yeah, it's priming. I don't know why they got rid of this thing. Should start right up. 2 pumps. Well, that's 2 pumps. I wonder what it says. Sometimes they want you to do 3 or 4. It's 2 pumps. It says 3 pumps. So let's go 4. It's 3. There's 4. Let's see if it'll start up. No idea. There's a little tube in the carburetor. Once you pump it, the gas squirts up into the carburetor. That's working just fine. So I guess I'll warm it up, take the oil, pull the oil out, drain it, put new oil in it. I don't know. Filter was in really good shape too. Here's the filter. Pretty clean.
just wanted to get a new lawnmower. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to get a self-propelled one and they didn't want to push it anymore. I don't blame them. I like my self-propelled. But these push lawnmowers push pretty easy. So, I don't know. I want to run for a few minutes and dump the oil. And I guess this is it. This video's done. There's one for the books for 23. I'll be selling that. So, I'll take it and cut the grass with it until it dies. And then I'll put it in my shed and I'll keep it for 5 or 6 months and sell it. All right.
Hello. Took it for a ride. I took it for a ride. Yeah, ride my lawnmower around the yard. Cut some grass with it. And then I came back and let it sit there idle. It's got a little mist to it. Could it be the spark plug? Yeah. But I'm thinking it's more the carburetor, considering how black this oil was in general, and getting rid of this lawnmower. It probably has not been well kept. So I'm going to take the top off it, and we're going to pull the float bowl off and see if we have any stuff floating around. I think there's probably grass and junk floating around inside that float bowl. It's catching up and getting into the idle circuit. So let's take this top off and get in here and see if we can find out what's wrong with this. It's running. Don't get me wrong, it's running. Just it's not running quite right. Got a little bit of a mess to it, and I want to sell somebody something that's not working right. So just takes a few minutes. I don't have anything into this yet but oil in my time so far. And we'll see what comes about here. And I always bring out my 1/4-inch drive sets. I bring out the SAE and I bring out the metric, because I really never know what I'm going to run into when I'm trying to take one of these apart. Sometimes you'll run into all the SAE, and sometimes I'd like to throw a little metric in there just to keep you honest, you know. So we'll work on that right now. We're taking this cover off, the primer cover. That's held on by 3 bolts. Yeah, maybe I'll put those back here. Don't lose them. And if I... Alright, and to replace the battery, I just noticed that I've had a lot of problems with batteries lately, and you know what? It's not the battery's fault, it's the operator's fault. So, it's me. Okay, so before I was saying I always have 2 socket sets here, because I never know one of these are going to be SAE or metric. And this has 3 bolts, and they are, what are they? Some size, 5/16. And this just pops off. You got a little tube back here you have to pull off the back of this. And this is pretty dirty back here. So I'm thinking there's probably a bunch of junk in the bottom of this bowl. So let's see what size. I think it's either 1/2 inch or 7/16. That shows a 1/2 inch. So we're going to put this little float under here. Okay, I'm back. These are those little shorty wrenches that I found at Home Depot one time, and I bought a set of them for myself and gave some to my son. And worked out great. So let's see. Towards me. Got to think what counterclockwise is here. knock off the gas here. Let's see what we have at the bottom of this bowl. I'm gonna have to use a socket. Oh! I have to use the socket here. Come on. Some of these screws come out kind of hard. Let's see what the float bowl has to offer. Little bit of junk in it. You can see some stuff floating around in there, but not too bad. And the jet. We'll blow the jet out. There's the jet at the bottom. I'll clean that out with a wire, and we'll put that back up in there and wipe everything down, and hopefully that gets rid of the mess. But we'll see. And then I'm going to change a spark plug just in case. Spark plugs are kind of funny. You never know sometimes if they're going to work or not. So let me shut this off, and I'll come back when I'm all ready to put it all back together. Yeah, there's definitely some junk in this jet. I cleaned it out, and I don't know if you can see it that close. Let's see. I don't know. I don't have the light all that great here in the garage. So, clean this out. Clean this off, clean it out. Then I'm going to take the pliers off the needle nose I have wrapped with some electrical tape so it doesn't cut up the thing. I'm going to let some gas run through this. Okay, just let some gas run through it. Bounce the float around. There we go. That's running much better. Okay, we'll clamp her off again. We'll put this all back together. Kind of hard to start that screw since you can't see it, so you have to use the feel. Watch, you just take your time. It's real easy to cross thread. Real easy to cross thread. It's my fingers full of gas, making this thing awful squeaky. And turn it in there finger tight. Get that gasket around the top of that bowl. It's probably still up in the carburetor, so we're just putting that all back together. Hopefully nothing leaks. Alright, we got that back in there. Take a little socket here. Just snug it up. You don't have to crank down on it. The ratchets go in the right direction. Just snug. There, snug. Open up the gas, massage the line where that was at, and we'll wipe off this mating surface here. this all back together again. Goes like this. Get that little air, there's a little line that goes in this cover. And there's you have to line this thing up on here. Make it fit just right. Take your time. Don't have to be in a big hurry. Alright, come on, baby. Fit for me, please. Fit for me. There we go. Start that in. What's this one here? Just want to make sure you're in the right place and it's all in there tight. So let's take another double look at this thing. Make sure we got it right. Okay. This cover has to fit into the grooves, and there's actually a little hole in there that goes to the primer bulb up front here. That's not lined up quite right, or this thing is warped or something, your primer won't work. And that's what I was kind of thinking, why this guy got rid of it. I said maybe the primer was bad, or this gasket behind here, this cover between this and the carburetor, sometimes gets brittle and breaks. And then when you go to prime it, it's just pushing air past it, and it's not working correctly. So we're going to put this all on here, and then we're going to test it and make sure the primer is working before we put everything back together. There we go. Not going to get all crazy, just get them snug. Just snug. Because you're going into plastic, so you don't. And let's see if the primer's working. Yep, primer's working. Okay, well, I'm going to put the cover back on this. Change out the spark plug, and then I'll bring you back when we've... Okay. So I'm going to put the cover back on the top. A couple Phillips screws. Change spark plug out, as you've seen before. And then I'll bring you back when we fire it up, and we'll see if that mist goes away. Alright. You can see that.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Okay, you're gonna go.
You got everything?
Pretty crusty. I don't know if this is gonna show up or not. Here, I'll put you on pause. Alright, let's get this going. My grandson was heading home. He spent the summer with us. Sad to see him go back, but he'll be back. So let's get this down on the lawnmower. I can see it in my monitor here. Alright, we'll see if it starts and hopefully it runs smoother. Spark plug was gummed up, and the carburetor had junk in it, so 4 primes. It should start right up. you know what? I fixed it. Get out here. I can never tell whether this thing is working right or not. There we go. Yeah, well, that fixed it. I think the carburetor with the idle jet, just in that little nut in the bottom, was dirty. And then the spark plug was dirty too. So change the oil. And you know, you can always try to check the oil that first time you fill it. Sometimes you got to start it up, let it mix with the old oil, because the new oil is so clear you can't hardly see it on the stick. Let it run for a few minutes, shut it off, and then I wait till like the next day and I come out and I pull the dipstick and it'll tell me whether I'm, you know, right on the money. And this one was just a tad overfull, just a tad, and it's fine. You don't want to overfill these, because what happens is you'll get oil coming into your carburetor and it makes a mess and it can blow up the motor. So you want to make sure that you're, you know, on the mark, or maybe just a little bit below it if that's where if you're happy with that. So I guess I'm going to sign off again. Now that this is running, I'll spit shine it all up and I'll lower the wheels down. I'll cut the grass until the mower dies and runs out of gas, and then I'm going to put it away for the winter. And I'll sell it next year. So, this is Rick. Sometimes you find easy money by the side of the road, and just try to monopolize on it as much as you can, or you have room for. You know, sometimes you live in an apartment, you might not have room to do this. You know, you got a storage shed, you might be able to make room storage and stack these things up. I've had mowers, I had them stacked 3 high in my shed over this last winter, but that's what I do. I'll find a lot more now when the weather breaks, it starts getting cooler, people stop cutting their grass. They just keep thinking, well, I'm gonna just get rid of this mower. I don't like it anymore. It doesn't run quite right. And then I find them, recycle them, and put them back into use instead of being crushed and turned into aluminum cans or maybe car parts or whatever. But try to do my part. All right, so be nice to your neighbor and be good.